everybody, it's Spence again. I just thought I'd take a minute and show you what I've been doing with Instagram, since I've only been on Instagram for about a week and a half now, and I'm actually starting to get some following, which is kind of nice. And I know I'm really late to the party with Instagram, but I found that if you're into photography at all, this is really where it's at. So I'm going to show you what I do with the equipment that I have, and I'll try to make it both, obviously, for Mac and PC, and if you have an iPhone or Android, the best that I can. So I'm going to start out with, I have a MacBook Pro and I have the new iPhone 6s Plus. So I went out, shot some photos on my phone, and I want to get them onto my computer so I can work with them. Yes, you can upload the photos from the phone directly to Instagram, but I'm in the camp of, we're in this for photography, and you want to make them look their best, because you never know who's going to see these images. Even Nat Geo's on Instagram, so it doesn't hurt to do your best to make them look really nice. Alright, so I've got the images on the phone. The phone is connected via the charging cable into the laptop. So now to get them from the phone onto the computer, with Apple anyway, they give us this program called Image Capture. And if you're not sure where that is, you can go under Go, Applications, and this is where all of your programs or applications live, and you're just going to go down here to where it says Image Capture, and that's basically where it is. So I've already got it in my dock. Now if you're doing this on a PC, you can use probably iTunes to sync to a folder on your desktop, or I'm sure they've got their own application at this point now that you can do it. Alright, so these are all the photos that's on my iPhone, and up here you can see it says basically Spencer's iPhone, so it shows that it's plugged in. So if we scroll all the way down here at the bottom, here are some images I took recently at Stump Pass Park out on Manasota Key. And it's kind of interesting. It shows you up here the name of the file, the date, the size, even the aperture number, and you notice everything's in sRGB, but you know, we'll deal with that later. Anyway, so, and by the way, here's some panoramics I did. Here's a panorama. It's kind of interesting. So let's say, for example, I want to take one of these, I want to work on it. I can just click on it to turn it, highlight it, to turn it blue. And if I just click and drag right on the desktop, it automatically transfers it. That's all there is to it. If you want to do a bunch of these, I can just press and hold Shift, and I can grab a few. And down here I can say Import To, and of course you can choose wherever you'd like them to go. So if you want to put in your Pictures folder or your desktop, then just click Import, and then it would import these four. So for today we're just going to play with just this one. And when you're done, you just do Image Capture, quit Image Capture again if you're on the Mac system. So there, I got this photo I can now play with. So I'm going to go ahead and launch Elements. I've got 13. If you have 11, 12, 13, 14's out now, that'll totally work. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the photo editor, and we're going to be working in the expert mode up here, expert. So we can easily just do File, Open. We'll bring in that photo that we just downloaded, and there we go. Okay, so here's the thing I found about Instagram, is it works with a square format. Now this is not square, this is rectangular. So you have a choice. You can either upload this as is right from your phone to Instagram, and what it's going to do, it's going to chop some of this off to make it fit a square. Now if you really got a certain crop that you want, and you don't want the computer messing with it or Instagram messing with it, and you want to make sure that people see what it is that you took, you can do what's called letterboxing, and that's going to show people exactly the way that you have it set. So the way you would do this is you could do File, New, Blank File, and again, if you're using Photoshop CC, you can do this exact same way. Alright, now I've looked up the pixels for Instagram, and the numbers that we need is 1080 by 1080, so that's our square. get an extra 0 in there. And the resolution is going to be 72 because this is going to be going online. Color mode, RGB, always when you're online. And I'll use transparent pixels just to get started. So basically this is our Instagram finished product over here that we're going to be working with. So probably the first thing that I would do is fill this with black, or if you want to go with white, a little bit more traditionalist. So I'll go ahead and just do file, or I'm sorry, edit. Let's see, where is the fill on here? Did they move it? Oh, I'm on, helps if we have the layer selected, and there we go. Now we got fill layer. Perfect. So now if we go into here to foreground color, we're going to change this to black and click OK. So there. So that's our, now whatever we've put in here is going to fit Instagram. So I'm going to take this image over here. So you can see this window's active because it has the color buttons on top. I'm going to grab my move tool and I'm just going to click and drag this on top of this window, and it's going to copy as a layer. Now you can see this is quite large. It's all there. So if I zoom out a little bit and we pull this out, and if I hit Command T, which is Control T on the PC, can you see these little handles here? They're very faint, but they're there. So if I take this in Elements, you don't hold Shift. On Photoshop CC, you do hold Shift. I don't know why they can't come up with a common denominator. I think it's because we have constrained proportions down here. So if that happens to you, if you're in Photoshop, you're going to have to hold Shift. Okay, so I'm just going to make this fit this square, and we can zoom in a little bit now so we can actually see what in the world it is we're doing. All right, a little bit bigger, we're almost there. Perfect. And then we can go ahead and hit enter or return, or we can hit the little green checkbox, and then we can maybe center it up a little bit. So this is basically what you could send up to Instagram, and you can see it's going to keep this height that you wanted. Now there comes this whole discussion of watermarking. What do we do about watermarking? So I've been taking some classes, reading about this, and the new theory of watermarking is, you know, don't plaster across the whole image. People don't like that, obviously, and they said the chances of somebody ripping off your stuff, yes, it happens, but we're talking about 72 dpi. If they were going to print out, it'd be the size of a postage stamp anyway. So this is kind of what I've done, is I went ahead and created a new watermark for myself. Those of you that have seen my other pictures before, I had like this embossed type of look. So I did this in Illustrator, by the way, and then I just exported a copy out as a PNG, which is PNG file. So I can take and just do select all on this, grab the move tool, then I can click and drag this on top of my image. And of course I can move it around, do whatever I want, size it. This is obviously a little bit big. So again, by using the free transform, which is Command T or the Control T on PC, and again, because I'm in Elements, I have this constraint proportion turned on, I'm not going to hold Shift. But if you're in big Photoshop CC, you probably are going to want to do that. So I'll just kind of put that down there in the corner, and that looks a little bit big, so we're just going to make it smaller. Enter, return. Now this looks like it's kind of out of place. It's just in your face. So that is where I would probably come up here, take my opacity, and this is here you can see the logo is on this layer, and then I can bring this down to something a little bit more reasonable and make it kind of fade into the picture a little bit. So it's there, but it's not there, if that makes sense. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this, of course, you know, if you don't want to. But and of course you can find, you know, maybe you don't like it down there in the sand, maybe you prefer to have it up here in the top, you know, whatever works for you. I try to keep things down below, but totally optional. So there we go. So this is basically would be our Instagram ready to go. Now you might be thinking, this is a lot of work to do this for one picture. Well, now you've got a template set up basically. So if I wanted to, I could just file, save as, and click on desktop, and I could call it Instagram Instagram temp, And as long as it's a Photoshop file, I got my layers selected, click save. So the next time I want to do this, I would just take this layer 2, throw it in a little trash can, bring in my next picture, put it on top of here. As long as the pictures between the, so we'll call this the logo layer. You can even name these by double clicking it. There, get rid of all that. It's good to name your layers. We'll call this logo. And if you really want to get special, we can name this one BG. Get rid of all this. BG, there we go, for background. So that makes it easy. So then you just basically throw this layer 2 out, bring your next picture, and it'll come over as a new layer. Just position it so it's in between these two, and you're done. So you kind of have to set this up once. Now this is a PSD. This is not going to work well with Instagram. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to save it, save as, and let's call this, we're going to be really creative here today, trees, and we'll put it on desktop, and we're going to want JPEG, and you can embed this color profile, that's fine. Go ahead and click save. Down here, this is the secret number 8. I've done some videos on this in the past, so chances are if you haven't seen those, if you look back on my YouTube channel, they're on there. But basically you want 8. That's 225K, which is very, very small. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now what we'll have, I'm going to go ahead and just hide all this for a minute. So here is the ones called trees.jpg. We'll put this up here so I don't get confused. So this is the one that we would then upload to Instagram. Now, as I think I mentioned, Instagram you can only upload from your cell phone, so that's kind of, or a tablet. I believe you can do a tablet now. So that's kind of the little hindrance with this, but it's not really a big deal. So if I wanted to, I could easily get this back on the phone on Apple. We have this thing called AirDrop. So if this is already selected, if I go ahead and hit the space bar, you have this little arrow with a box coming out of it. If I click on this, and let me make sure my phone is unlocked so that way it will be ready to receive a file, I can say AirDrop this. So let me go ahead and just do that. It's looking for any devices that's available. Here you go, Spencer Pullen's iPhone. So if I click on that, it says waiting, sending, sent. So I just got a little notification on my iPhone that picture has been added to my camera roll. And now I could easily send that up to Instagram. So that's one thing that you can do there. Now, if you don't want to go through all this, I don't know if you noticed or not, but on my, let's go back to the image capture here for a second. By the way, here you can see that one that we just did, and as of today. So it's on there. So let me take one of these, and this is actually one that I did. So let me grab this one. I'm just going to copy that back off the phone. I'm not too concerned about the crop when I do some of this stuff. So, I mean, if you are, then obviously you can go through all those little extra steps. But I like to shoot in black and white. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our template, and I'm going to get rid of this other one that we just worked on. So I'm basically back down to the new image. Now I like black and white, so what I would do for me, and again, I know it's going to crop some of the tops of the trees off, maybe in this case maybe I might want to do that just so it doesn't look strange, but anyway, this is what I did already. Again, I'm a big fan of Nik. That's what I use. Obviously, you can do a lot of this stuff in Photoshop or in Elements. It's not a problem. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just open this up into Nik. And the first thing I like to do is to come down here, hit this with the old S-curve. So I do this actually to all my pictures, whether it's black and white or color. It seems to do some amazing things. Vignette, sure, why not? Let's add a vignette. And then you can choose if you want a circle or a rectangle. So I usually go halfway in between. And then the amount, I can make it really, really dark. And this is actually what I'm prepping this for, really, is my website. But you can use this for Instagram as well. So if I come up here, Then if I really want to punch the sky, I can throw a red filter on there. See, that's just, again, that's like what Ansel Adams and Clyde Butcher and some of these people do. And again, if its strength's a little bit too much for you, you can just bring this down a little bit. Okay, call that good. And then we still haven't done anything with contrast yet. So if I bring up the contrast, and then of course if you want to play with the brightness, if you can think it, this program can do it. I'm not going to play with the structure right now, but anyway, so this is basically quickly done. We'll just click OK. And there we go. So we'll call that finished. Then I would just, yes, you could save a PSD if you want, because we do have a layer over here. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it as, all right, I'm going to get really creative this time. Dead trees. There we go, perfect, desktop. And I'm just going to save this again as our JPEG, and we're going to click save. 8. Oh, you know what though? You know, it was 1.3 meg or something. I think this is still more than 72. It is, but look, it's 3000 by 4000. That's massive. So if we take the longest edge, in this case is going to be the height. And if I change this to 1080, which is respectable, because I have constraint proportion turned on, it automatically brought the width down that we're going to need. 72 dpi, that's good. So click OK. It still looks pretty good. So let's go File, Save As. Let's see what that looks like. So there we go. And JPEG. Good old JPEG, and we'll hit, so now I'm down to 172K, which is much smaller than we were at 1.3 meg. So just go ahead and click OK, and there we go. So that should be sitting on our desktop. I'm not going to bother saving it. Let's hide elements for a minute, and there it is again. To see, now if I open this, double click it, it automatically opens up in preview, which is like Windows Media Viewer on Windows. So again, even from here, I can click on this and say, you know what, airdrop it to my phone. And let me make sure the phone is unlocked once again. All right, there we go. I love this new Touch ID thing that they've got on here. It speeds things up immensely. So if I go ahead and say airdrop that to my phone, it should come up. There it is, iPhone, waiting, sending, sent, done. So then from there, I can now upload that to Instagram. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to get this on Instagram and how that works. So I'm actually going to flip this over to the phone, and then you'll see my iPhone. This is now the Instagram app that you can download from the App Store or Google Play Store, any of those kind of things. So if you don't have an account with them yet, down here at the bottom of the phone it says don't have an account, sign up. So you have to sign up via the phone. You can see on the top here underneath where it says Instagram, it says Spencer Pullen Photo. That's my username. So you would just go ahead and log in. So go ahead, and once after you have everything set up, you just put in your username and your password. Okay, so once you're logged in and you have your account created, basically you can start viewing pictures. So the way this works is we'll look at the buttons down below at the very bottom of the phone. So at the bottom left we have the house, which is your home. Basically anybody that you're following will show up there. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. The next one, where it looks like a search field. Yes, you can search for a certain type of image. If up here at the top where it says search, you can put in, say if you're into osprey birds, you could put that up in there, and anything that's osprey and tagged osprey and birds will come up. The button at the bottom of the phone that's kind of blue, that is that's how you can actually upload the pictures off of your phone. And then the next one to that looks like a little comment bubble with a heart. This will tell you how many people have liked your photo, if anybody's following you, that kind of, if they left you a comment. Then the one that's next to that, which would be in the bottom right of the phone, looks like a little person. This is actually what you have going on. So in my case, I've got 15 posts. You can see up here towards the top says post, or 15 posts. I got 65 followers, and I'm following 164 people. These are all the images that I have uploaded. And you can also put in your bio where mine says I enjoy teaching photography, Photoshop, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That is your profile. Now here is something that hopefully I can save you some frustration, because I went into my word processing program and typed out this, really nice thing about everything I do. Went to paste it into Instagram and it said you're only allowed 150 characters total. So that's a letter, that's a number, and a space. So that's why I basically had to strip it down to this. If you do have a website, you can obviously put that in there so people will then click on your website and takes them right to them. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. It's nice to have a website, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. All right, so to actually add a picture to your account, which is basically what we're looking at right now, I'm going to click on the bottom of the phone again. You see that little blue highlighted box. I guess that's their camera. So here is my camera roll. So up here at the top of the phone, so you can see there's an X and then it says camera roll and then next. So that's the camera roll. I'm going to go ahead and click on our image that we worked on in Elements. You can see it's got the watermark and the letterboxing and everything. So if I go ahead and click on next, which is in the upper right of the phone, and here you can choose all these filters. You can choose a brightness. By the way, X means cancel, check mark means go for it. Here's a wrench, so here's all this stuff that you can do. So you can do quite a bit with this actually. We've already done everything we're going to do in Photoshop, so we're going to call this good. So I'm just going to go ahead and click next. Alright, so you want to make sure at the top it says followers. So because when you push this out, like mine said 65 followers, that means those 65 people, when they log on to Instagram, are going to see this. So that's a good thing. So write a caption. So basically, this is two parts. This took me a minute to figure out how to use this, but maybe I'm just slower than most. I don't know. So if I put in dead trees in, if I could spell it, being better, in Florida. Alright, so that's the caption of where this was taken. However, there's these things called hashtags. If any of you are using Lightroom, you might know this as keywords. So you want to put keywords in so people can find your photos if they're doing a search like we just talked about a minute ago. Down at the bottom right of the phone where the keyboard is, you'll see like a pound sign. I'll go ahead and push it. I know it's a pound sign, that's what I grew up, but I guess now they're called hashtags. So now in this case, this is how you start your search term. So you're going to push the hashtag, and then I'll put in tree. That might be a good one. And there's tree. So you can see the very top result says tree. There's almost 24 million posts, so go ahead and click on that. You want to add as many hashtags or search terms as you can possibly think of, because if somebody is looking for your stuff, then that's going to help get the relevant information to come up. So I'm going to go ahead and press the pound sign again, or the hashtag, and put in maybe trees, and I can click on trees. I can click on hashtag, and we can say Florida, F-L-O-R-I-D, again, spelling, it's Saturday, there we go. Okay, so then if we can hit hashtag, so maybe beach, there we go. So you can put as many on here as you like. Once you have this filled out, you can click OK. If you want to fill the rest of this out, you can. If you were there with somebody, you could tag somebody that you were with if they have an Instagram account as well. If you also want to push this to Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Flickr, any of that's good. Down here at the bottom, this blue, it says share with an arrow, so you click on that, and there, now it's posted to my account. So if I click back on the little person in the very bottom right of the phone, you can see it's been added to my account. Now you might see a theme going with my account. Everything's in black and white, so I got this color one now, so it doesn't really fit. So if you want to, you can click on the actual picture, and then down here these three little dots. So we have the heart, the comment bubble, the arrow that allows you to share, and then way over on the right hand side you get these three little dots. So if I click on that, I can either edit it, I can share it, I can hit cancel. In this case, I'm just going to delete it because that would just look odd to have the color one with all this. By the way, here is the one that we were looking at before, and you can see that it is a little bit cut off, so maybe I might want to go back and fix that one. Alright, so one other thing is going back to this, we're at the bottom of the phone now. So towards the right hand side, we've got the camera in the middle, and then the next one is the comment bubble with a heart. So this is where people again can tell you if they liked your photo, if they've left you a comment, or a lot of times I leave comments to somebody, like for example this Martin K2. I said, oh, you got really nice contrast or something in his photos. So anyway, so you can see he wrote me back and said thanks for basically letting him know. If you want to see what anybody of these, what they've got going on, like this Eliz1, so let's click on hers. So I have not seen hers yet. By the way, I like to read their bio to see where they're located in the world. You just never know. And if you want to look at a picture, by the way, you can scroll, of course. But if I click on a picture, I'm like, okay, well, I really like that. So if I want to like this picture, I can click the little heart, and it lights up red. If I wanted to comment on this, I can just hit the little bubble, comment bubble. You see a lot of people have already. So I could put something like great photo and enjoyed your gallery. And hit send, and then it's going to add my comment all the way at the bottom. The other thing I will do for her, because I really like her gallery, I want to see more of her stuff as she adds more to it. I'm going to go ahead and click on follow. So now it's going to add, so when I basically go back down here to the house, so it's the bottom left of the phone, the little house. Now when I scroll through here, like this flare underscore BW, I liked this particular person's photos. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. I believe that's the Flatiron building. So if I go and click the plus, I like that. I just keep going down through here, and anything I think that's, you know, I just want to give them a thumbs up. Basically, I can just click on the heart. And of course, you can comment on all these as well. So this is pretty amazing stuff. I will warn you, if you are into black and white, I have ran into some, shall we say, questionable material on here. Photography is art. It just depends on how you want to interpret that, so I'll just leave it at that. Make sure that you log out when you're finished. So if I click on the little person on the bottom right of the phone, here I am, and you can see here's my account, and it's just updating. So if you want to log out, up here there's a little gear in the very top right of the phone, right next to where it says Spencer Pullen photo. If I click on that, I then can go down here to log out, and it says, are you sure? Yep, log out, and it takes us back to the app. So hopefully that helps. I say give it a go. It's been a lot of fun. I've joined with people who are New York City, LA, Japan, Australia, places that I may or may not ever see. But I have not ran into any trolls. You know, those people that just sit there and say, oh, your work is terrible. Everybody's been very positive, and it's just been great. So I say give it a try. All right, we'll catch you next time. Thanks.